Let me tell y'all something real quick. Ain't nobody gonna love you like you. You hear me? Nobody. Not your mama, not your best friend, not your partner. And it ain't because they don't love you. It's because they can't love you the way you should love yourself. Ain't nobody gonna love you like you can. That's the truth, plain and simple. You can spend your whole life searching for someone to make you feel whole, someone to lift you up, someone to fill that space inside you. But at the end of the day, the only person who can truly do that is you. You see, a lot of folks walk around thinking love is something that comes from the outside. They think if they just find the right person, the right relationship, the right friend, or even the right job, they'll finally feel complete. But let me tell you something. If you don't already feel complete within yourself, nothing and nobody is ever going to make you feel that way. People will love you, sure, they'll care about you. But even the people who love you the most can't love you in a way that replaces the love you need to have for yourself. You ever see folks who jump from relationship to relationship, always looking for somebody to make them feel wanted? That's because they don't know how to love themselves first. They depend on other people to do it for them. And when that person leaves, they fall apart. They feel lost. They don't know who they are without somebody else telling them they're special. That's dangerous. You can't put your happiness, your worth, your value in somebody else's hands. Because people are people. They can change. They can disappoint. They can walk away. And if your love for yourself is based on someone else's opinion, what happens when that opinion changes? You got to understand that your worth ain't up for debate. It ain't tied to whether somebody calls you, whether they choose you, whether they stay. It's locked in, it's set in stone. You were born valuable. You were born enough. And the only person who needs to recognize that every single day is you. A lot of times, people don't love themselves because they're too busy focusing on what they think they lack. They sit around counting their flaws, comparing themselves to other folks, looking at what they don't have instead of appreciating what they do. That's a losing game. You'll never win that, because no matter who you are, how successful you get, how much you achieve, if you don't love yourself, you always feel like it's not enough. You see it all the time. People who have money, fame, status, but still feel empty. That's because love starts from the inside. It don't matter how much you got if you don't got love for yourself. And that love ain't just about confidence. It's about respect. It's about knowing your boundaries. It's about treating yourself like somebody who matters, somebody worth taking care of, somebody worth standing up for. Because let me tell you, the way you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you. If you're always putting yourself last, always shrinking to make other people comfortable, always doubting yourself, the world is going to do the same. But if you walk with confidence, if you hold your head up, if you know deep down that you are worthy, the world will have no choice but to recognize it too. You got to set that standard. Loving yourself means taking responsibility for your own happiness. It means not waiting for somebody else to show up and save you, not waiting for approval, not waiting for the world to clap for you before you believe in yourself. You got to be your own biggest fan, your own cheerleader, your own support system. Because at the end of the day, when you lay your head down at night, it's just you and your thoughts. And if you don't love yourself, if you don't think you're enough, then nothing else is going to fill that space for you. Some of y'all are walking around with a love deficit. You're giving love away to everybody else, your family, your friends, your job, but you ain't saving any for yourself. You pour and pour until you're empty, then wonder why you feel drained, why you feel unappreciated, why you feel like something's missing. What's missing is you. You've been so busy making sure everybody else is good that you forgot to make sure you're good. You got to start prioritizing yourself. You got to stop looking for somebody else to tell you you're good enough and start believing it on your own. You got to start treating yourself the way you want others to treat you. Because if you don't, you'll spend your whole life settling for less than you deserve. Too many people are out here waiting for somebody else to tell them they're enough. They need to hear it from their friends, their family, their boss, social media, or whoever they think holds the power to validate them. But let me tell you something. If you don't believe it first, it don't matter who says it. If you're walking around waiting on the world to approve of you, you're going to be waiting forever. People spend too much time chasing compliments, likes, and attention like it's going to fill them up. But no amount of outside validation can make up for what you don't believe about yourself. You ever see somebody who's got everything, looks, money, success, but they still insecure? That's because no matter how much the world tells you you're great, if you don't feel it inside, you won't believe it. It'll never be enough. The problem is too many folks tie their self-worth to what other people think. They let other people's opinions decide how they feel about themselves. If somebody praises them, they feel good. If somebody criticizes them, they feel worthless. That's dangerous because people change. One day they love you, the next day they don't. One moment they're cheering for you, the next moment they're questioning you. If your confidence is built on the shaky foundation of what others think, you're going to be knocked down every time the wind blows. You got to stop waiting for permission to feel good about yourself. You got to stop needing someone else to tell you that you matter. Because let me tell you something, not everybody is going to see your worth. Not everybody is going to appreciate you. And that's okay. It ain't their job to. It's your job to know who you are. It's your job to believe in yourself, even when nobody else does. Too many people hold themselves back because they're scared of what others might think. They don't chase their dreams because they're afraid of judgment. They don't speak up because they're afraid of rejection. They don't live fully because they're worried about what somebody else might say. But let me ask you this. Who are you living for? Who do you wake up with every morning? Who do you go to sleep with every night? It's you, not them. You. So why are you letting people who don't live your life control how you feel about yourself? When you put your worth in the hands of others, you give them the power to break you. You give them the power to dictate your happiness. And once you do that, you're no longer in control. That's why some people feel stuck. That's why they feel lost. They're waiting on approval that may never come. They're looking for love in places that can't give it to them. The truth is, most people are too busy worrying about themselves to think about you as much as you think they do. You're out here holding back because you're afraid of being judged. But half the time, people ain't even paying attention. And even if they are, so what? Their opinion don't change your value. You ever notice how confident people move through the world? It's not because they never get criticized. It's because they don't let that criticism define them. They don't let other people's opinions shake what they already know to be true about themselves. They walk into a room like they belong there. They speak like their words matter. They don't need anybody to tell them they're enough because they've already decided that for themselves. That's the difference between people who live freely and people who stay stuck. One group understands that their worth isn't up for debate. The other group is waiting on somebody else to tell them they're good enough. And guess what? If you give people the power to decide your worth, some of them will take advantage of it. Some will withhold love just to control you. Some will keep you doubting yourself so they can keep you small. But the moment you stop looking for outside validation, the moment you realize you don't need anybody else to approve of you, that's the moment you become unstoppable. That's the moment you start walking different, talking different, living different. Because when you validate yourself, nobody can take that away from you. Loving yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. A lot of people go through life feeling guilty for putting themselves first. Like taking care of their own needs somehow makes them a bad person. But the truth is, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. If you don't love yourself, you'll constantly look for other people to do it for you, and that's a setup for disappointment. People will tell you to be selfless, to give and give, to always put others first. And while giving is a beautiful thing, It should never come at the cost of your own well-being. Too many folks drain themselves trying to be everything for everyone, thinking that sacrificing themselves is the definition of love. But what happens when you give so much that there's nothing left? What happens when you're so busy taking care of everybody else that you forget to take care of yourself? Loving yourself means understanding that you are just as important as the people you care about. It means setting boundaries and knowing when to say no. It means choosing yourself even when it's hard. Because if you don't choose you, you can't expect anybody else to. People take their cues from you. If you treat yourself like you don't matter, others will do the same. If you respect yourself, others will follow suit. Some folks think loving yourself means being arrogant or selfish, but that's not it at all. There's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence says, I know I matter. Arrogance says, only I matter. And loving yourself the right way means knowing your worth without putting anybody else down. It means standing tall without stepping on anybody else's toes. It means knowing you deserve happiness, peace, and success without feeling guilty for it. Loving yourself is about knowing your limits. It's about understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be your best self for others if you're running on fumes. You can't show up fully in your relationships if you're constantly neglecting yourself. Some people think they're doing the right thing by always putting others first, but in reality, they're slowly losing themselves in the process. They wake up one day exhausted, unfulfilled, wondering where all their energy went. It's about knowing when to give and when to hold back. Everybody else. It's about knowing when to say yes, nothing, and when to say no for themselves. It's about realizing that you don't have to apologize for taking up space, for having needs, for prioritizing your own happiness. Because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. People will take from you as long as you let them. Not always because they mean harm, but because human nature is to take what's given. If you don't set boundaries, people will assume you don't have any. If you don't show yourself respect, people will assume you don't need it. That's why self-love is so important. It teaches people how to treat you. It sets the standard for the kind of love and respect you expect in return. When you love yourself, you stop settling. You stop putting up with things that drain you. You stop allowing people to walk all over you because you know you deserve better. You move differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself differently. You become a person who commands respect without even asking for it. Because when you truly love yourself, it shows. It's in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you handle yourself in any situation. Some people won't understand your self-love journey. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong. But that's only because they were benefiting from you not having boundaries. They were used to the version of you that always said yes, always gave too much, always put yourself last. When you start choosing yourself, some people won't like it, but the ones who truly love you will respect it. Loving yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. It's knowing that you are responsible for your own happiness. It's understanding that you can't be everything for everyone, and that's okay. It's about making sure that you are whole, that you are healthy, that you are at peace. Because when you are full, when you are truly in love with yourself, that love spills over into everything you do. Too many people are walking around giving discounts on their worth, settling for less than they deserve because they don't even realize how valuable they are. They accept treatment that's beneath them, relationships that drain them, and jobs that don't appreciate them because they've convinced themselves that's all they can get. But the truth is, you teach the world how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. If you keep letting people take advantage of you, they will. If you keep saying yes to things that don't serve you, you'll keep getting more of the same. You see it all the time. People stand in situations they know aren't good for them because they're afraid of walking away. They settle because they don't believe they can do better. They stay in toxic relationships because they think love means enduring pain. They let people walk all over them because they'd rather be liked than respected. But here's the thing. If you don't know your worth, the world won't either. If you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? A lot of folks struggle with this because they've been taught to accept whatever comes their way. Maybe they grew up in environments where love was conditional. Maybe they were told they had to work for people's approval. Maybe they were made to feel like their value depended on what they could offer others. So they carry that mindset into their adult lives, always trying to prove themselves, always trying to be enough for someone else. But real love, real respect, real self-worth ain't something you have to earn. It's something you have to recognize within yourself. You have to understand that you are enough as you are. You don't have to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. You don't have to accept the bare minimum just because you're afraid of being alone. You don't have to tolerate disrespect just to keep the peace. When you know your worth, you stop trying to convince people to see it. You stop begging for attention, stop chasing validation, stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you matter. You walk like you know you do. People will test your boundaries. They'll see how much they can get away with. And if you don't stand up for yourself, they'll assume it's okay to keep treating you the same way. That's why setting standards is so important. It's not about being difficult or demanding. It's about protecting your peace. It's about saying, this is what I will and won't accept. It's about knowing that you deserve respect, kindness, and love without having to beg for it. Some people won't like it when you start valuing yourself. They were comfortable with the version of you that tolerated mistreatment, that said yes to everything, that never spoke up. When you start setting boundaries, when you start expecting more, some folks will fall away, and that's okay. The right people will rise to meet you at your level. The wrong ones will be upset because they can no longer take advantage of you. The biggest mistake you can make is settling for less because you're afraid of losing people. If someone leaves because you started valuing yourself, they were never meant to stay. If a job lets you go because you asked for what you deserve, it was never the right place for you. If a friend stops calling because you stopped overextending yourself, then that friendship was never real to begin with. The things that are truly meant for you will never require you to compromise your self-respect. When you know your worth, you attract better. You stop entertaining people who drain you. You stop accepting situations that don't align with your value. You stop allowing fear to keep you in places you've outgrown. Because when you finally realize how valuable you are, you refuse to settle for anything less than what you truly deserve. The way you love yourself sets the tone for how everybody else loves you. People take their cues from you. If you treat yourself like you don't matter, they'll assume you don't. If you constantly put yourself last, they'll start doing the same. If you accept less than what you deserve, they'll keep giving you less. That's why self-love isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about setting a standard for how you allow the world to treat you. Too many people walk around hoping others will give them the love and respect they refuse to give themselves. They want their partner to cherish them, but they don't cherish themselves. They want their friends to support them, but they don't even believe in themselves. They want to be valued, but they constantly doubt their own worth. And then they wonder why they keep attracting people who don't appreciate them. It's because they're teaching the world that it's okay to treat them that way. When you love yourself, you don't beg for love from others. You don't have to, because you already know what you bring to the table. You already know your value. You don't waste time trying to convince people to see your worth because you've already decided that you're worthy. And that energy is powerful. It shifts the way people interact with you. When you carry yourself with confidence, when you set boundaries, when you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, people either rise to meet your standards or they walk away. And either way, you win. People who truly love and respect you won't be intimidated by your self-love. They'll celebrate it. They'll admire it. They'll recognize it. because they've done the same work within themselves. But the ones who benefited from you not loving yourself, the ones who took advantage of your insecurities, who use your self-doubt to keep you small, they'll have a problem with it. They'll call you difficult. They'll say you've changed. And they're right. You have. You've grown into someone who refuses to accept less than what you deserve. Loving yourself means setting boundaries without guilt. It means saying no without explaining yourself. It means walking away from anything that doesn't align with your peace, your happiness, your growth. And it means understanding that the people who truly belong in your life will respect that. The ones who get mad about your boundaries were only benefiting from you having none. A lot of folks are scared to set boundaries because they think they'll lose people. But let me tell you something. Anyone you lose because you loved yourself the right way wasn't meant for you in the first place. Real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink, to settle, to accept mistreatment just to keep the peace. That's not love. That's control. That's manipulation. That's fear disguised as connection. When you start loving yourself, some relationships will naturally fall away. The ones built on your insecurities, the ones that thrived on your self-doubt, the ones that only worked because you didn't know your own power, those relationships can't survive when you start standing in your worth. And that's a good thing, because the people who are meant for you, they won't be threatened by your growth. They'll support it. They'll encourage it. They'll love you even more for it. Loving yourself means you stop explaining your worth to people who refuse to see it. You stop proving yourself to those who are never going to appreciate you. You stop overextending, over-apologizing, overcompensating just to make others comfortable. Because you realize that your energy is valuable, your time is valuable, your love is valuable, and not everyone deserves access to it. The way you love yourself teaches others how to love you. If you let people walk all over you, they'll keep doing it. If you tolerate disrespect, they'll assume it's okay. But if you show up for yourself, if you respect yourself, if you refuse to settle, you will start to attract people who do the same. You will create a life where you are valued, where you are honored, where you are surrounded by love that matches the love you give yourself. You have to understand that self-love is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not something you wake up one day and master forever. It's a choice you make every single day. Some days it'll be easy. You'll look in the mirror and feel proud of yourself, confident in who you are. Other days it'll be a struggle. You'll doubt yourself, question your worth, and feel like you're not enough. But the key is to keep choosing yourself, even on the days when it's hard. A lot of people think self-love is just about feeling good, but it's deeper than that. It's about how you talk to yourself when nobody's watching. It's about the way you treat yourself when you make a mistake. It's about whether you show yourself grace or whether you beat yourself up over things that don't even matter in the long run. Because the way you treat yourself in private determines the way you carry yourself in public. Too many people are waiting for the perfect moment to start loving themselves. They tell themselves, I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll love myself when I get that job. I'll feel confident when I'm in a relationship. But self-love doesn't work like that. It's not something you put on hold until life looks the way you want it to. It's something you practice right now in this moment, exactly as you are. You can't spend your whole life postponing your happiness. You can't keep telling yourself you'll be worthy once you achieve something. Because even when you get what you thought you needed, if you haven't done the inner work, you'll still feel empty. That's why you see people who seem to have it all, money, fame, success, but they're still unhappy. Because self-love isn't about what you have. It's about how you feel about yourself when all the noise is gone. Easy to love yourself when everything is going right, when people are praising you, when life is smooth, when you feel on top of the world. But the real test is whether you can still love yourself when things aren't perfect. Can you still be kind to yourself when you fail? Can you still believe in yourself when things don't go your way? Can you still show yourself grace when you mess up? Because that's what real self-love is. It's not conditional. It's not based on achievements. It's not something that disappears the moment life gets hard. Loving yourself means embracing all of you, the good, the bad, the flaws, the strengths, the insecurities, the victories, and the failures. It means accepting that you are a work in progress, that you will make mistakes, that you have setbacks, but that none of those things define your worth. Your worth is not measured by what you do. It's not based on how others see you. It's something you carry inside you, something that never changes no matter what happens. Some days self-love will look like standing in front of the mirror and reminding yourself that you are enough. Other days it will look like walking away from situations that don't serve you. Sometimes it will mean setting boundaries, saying no, and putting yourself first. And sometimes it will mean giving yourself permission to rest, to heal, to take a break without feeling guilty. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when you hear that little voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough. But you don't have to listen to that voice. You don't have to believe every negative thought that comes into your mind. Thoughts are just thoughts, and you have the power to change them. You can choose to replace self-doubt with self-belief. You can choose to speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. People think self-love is about being perfect, but it's really about being real. It's about knowing that you are human, that you have flaws, that you are still learning but loving yourself anyway. It's about recognizing that you deserve love, happiness, and success, not because you've earned them, but simply because you are worthy. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to chase validation. You don't have to wait until you reach some imaginary goal to start treating yourself with love and respect. The most powerful thing you can do is decide right now that you are enough. Not when you lose weight, not when you get the promotion, not when you're in a relationship, right now, exactly as you are. Because the moment you start truly loving yourself, everything changes.